Hello and welcome to Called Bank Sports. Tonight, the Utah Jazz dropped a close one to the Miami Heat, losing 115-118. The Jazz had a chance to send it to overtime at the end of regulation, but were unable to take advantage. And frankly, them even having the opportunity to send the game into overtime was very different than where I thought the game was going to end up, considering how they gave up a big run to the Heat in the fourth quarter and were down by as many as 19 points. So them staying in the game and fighting through adversity to get to that position was great. There definitely are some things that they could have done differently and won the game. They're currently 0-2 on Saturdays. Their only two losses have come on Saturday, so hopefully they're able to change that next week when they play the Heat again. But that'll be a really big game for me personally to watch, since obviously playing the team the first time, there's going to be some hiccups, especially a team like the Miami Heat, which run multiple offensive looks, namely pick and roll and isolation. And also, have as good of a defense as they do, that they typically run as a switching defense. So switching defenses, as most Jazz fans know, are what really hurt the Jazz. The Clippers were able to successfully do that last year and during the playoffs, which is one of the major reasons why they were able to come back and win 4 straight against Utah and end their playoff run. So for the Jazz to do as well as they did today against a very good Heat team was a big positive for me. Now, Donovan Mitchell did lead the team with 37 points after resting for a sprained ankle this Thursday against the Hawks. And that 37 is kind of a good and a bad thing. He had some really big positives in his stat line, and there were some other things that were pretty sad, and really only one thing in particular. He was 10 for 13 from 2. Awesome. 5 for 6 from the free throw line. Great. He had 7 assists, 2 steals, only 2 turnovers, and which is great. Like, all of those things are amazing. Couple that with 30 points, and it looks like a really good game. And then he shot 4 of 15 from 3. So that's around 27%. And considering how the Jazz lost by 3, if he shoots 30%, that's overtime. If he shoots 33%, all of a sudden he made, if he shoots 33%, that's overtime. If he shoots 36%, that's the game. So overall, that was kind of disappointing for me that his 3-point shot that he was struggling so much from 3 this game, and frankly has been for the majority of the season. So thankfully it's early on, and hopefully he's able to get back into rhythm. It does make me wonder, if at some point we're going to see him getting contacts this year, or getting glasses, getting goggles after his comments about his eyesight early in the season. I don't think that has anything to do with it, but tonight was definitely a rough night from 3 for Donovan. Clarkson struggled from 3 again, 1 for 6. Wouldn't be super notable if it wasn't for, the previous 2 of the 3 games where he missed, 17 straight, and then continued on into the Hawks. So he's had a good quarter and a half from 3 over the last 4 games, and hopefully he's able to get some juice and turn that around this week so that he's able to have a better performance against the Hawks on Tuesday and the Heat on Saturday. Those are the 2 games that I'm really interested to see how the Jazz perform in this week. Orlando and Indiana, I feel like, should be easy wins for Utah, regardless of who they end up sending out on the court. Another big positive for the Jazz this game is they only had 6 turnovers, which is very different than what they typically do. I mean, typically they're in the mid-teens and sometimes even get into the 20s. So only having 6 turnovers is great for the Jazz and a big positive. And it does kind of, I guess, convince me that I should lean a bit off on the turnovers, not be as harsh on them for it, because typically if you told me they only had 6 turnovers, I thought they would have dominated the game. but that was not the case in a game where they were dominated by the Heat for the majority of it. Whiteside had a great game going back to his first team, and in the Heat, he was plus 17. In 19 minutes, he was able to put up 6 points and picked up 8 boards. So really good showing from him. And Rudy Gobert really struggled against Bam Adebayo tonight, only having 8 points, missing both of his shots at the line, and only having 8 rebounds, compared to Adebayo in his 36 minutes, putting up 17 points, snagging 6 rebounds, and having 6 assists. So Adebayo had a great night tonight. Rudy struggled, and as good as Rudy is, he's not going to have an amazing night 82 games of the year. And Adebayo is a very good center in the league. So it would make sense to me to see Rudy Gobert occasionally struggle in games against the Heat. And really my big takeaway from this is that the Heat just couldn't miss tonight. The Heat took 5 less field goals than the Jazz, made 4 more shots, shot 60% from the field as a whole, and shot over 52% from 3, going 11 of 22. So when the Jazz went 15 of 45 for 33%, yes, the Jazz got 4 more threes than the Heat, but it took them 24 more shots. So in the end, when you're comparing shooting percentages in this game, it would have been crazy for the Jazz to have won. So this wasn't a great game from Utah, but they did have everyone. And frankly, it's concerning that the Jazz's 2 losses have been against the best teams they've played. So they've won the games they've needed to, but they have struggled against the top tier competition that they've played from the East. And they haven't had to play any top tier competition from the West. So beating the easy teams like Oklahoma City and Houston is important, but the Jazz are going to have to step it up in these big name games to really show that they have a chance of making it to the finals this year and bringing a trophy here to Salt Lake. So thank you so much to everyone for tuning in. Please like wherever you're at. Subscribe, share the videos. It really helps us out. We're super excited for the rest of the season. Thanks again for watching, and go Jazz.